So it's a really, really important
I'm gonna beat you with a stick every time you mess up. So only use that if you're looking to kill someone.
Yes.
Death by impalement.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
All right, you guys, so in this video, I'm going to be showing a few different self-defense techniques that you can do with different styles of sticks. So, well, starting with, I've got a bow staff in my hand. This is approximately a 6-foot tall staff. Actually, it is exactly 6 feet tall. So we have the bow staff. This is going to be the one we're going to use for the longest range attacks. Okay, then the next one, I've got a Hanbo. So this is a traditional samurai weapon. We see it in traditional jiu-jitsu and samurai arts like ninjutsu. So we're going to be doing some Hanbow techniques. And that's kind of the mid-range one. And then I'm also going to show a couple things with a little smaller stick. This is an Escrima stick from a Filipino weapon. Now, one thing I want to mention with these different sticks is that I think that sticks are one of the most practical martial art techniques, or I should say martial arts weapons, that you can use in your dojo. Because a stick can really represent anything. I mean, a stick could represent maybe like, maybe there's like an antenna on a car that you rip off, or, oh geez, I was in an altercation with a shovel not long ago. A shovel, right? There's a stick. Behind the video thing here, there's a bunch of wooden chairs. It would be really easy to take off a piece of the wooden chair to use it as a stick. The stick is a tool that you can find laying around really anywhere outside or even in your own home. And the applications for stick fighting are absolutely limitless. So the first weapon we're going to talk about is the bow staff. We're using a 6-foot-long staff right now. This is a weapon that you see in most martial arts. One thing I want to mention with a hard weapon like a staff is you want to hold it light in your hand so that you can slide it to get the distance. And this longer staff is all about distance, okay? So in this application, I've got a padded staff and she has a padded knife. I didn't trust her with a real knife. She didn't trust me with a real staff. So we got a padded knife, padded staff, right? So, let's say your wife, she messed something up on the dinner wrong or something like that, and you have a stick and she comes at you with a knife. This is a good scenario. Whack! Take that knife away. So, but in all reality here, with the bow staff, I have to have a lot of distance. And the first thing I'm going to do with any weapon that I have, the first principle is we call defang the snake. And this is a Filipino fighting principle, but any weapon that I have, the first thing I do is defang the snake. So, if my beautiful wife Janine was a snake, I'm scared of snakes, just so you know, and we thought the fangs, those are the things that can hurt us and kill us with a snake, right? We have to take the fangs away. So when that knife comes at me, I'm always looking to hit that attacking hand. So the knife comes at me again, boom, I'm looking to hit that attacking hand with the stick. Now, we're kind of really close range right now, just for the sake of the camera, but we're going to back up a little bit, and I'm just going to show you a super easy drill. Crazy. Back when I was a little bit younger, a lot younger, probably like 17 to 19 years old, I did some full contact stick fighting to kind of feel what it was like to actually fight with a real stick. Don't do this, right? I don't recommend it. I saw some crazy stuff. I thankfully didn't get hurt too bad, but I did see some injuries and things. But I learned a lot about distance and a lot about what really works and what doesn't work. And the thing about the long stick is it was probably my least favorite weapon to use in like a real stick fighting event. And the reason why it was my least favorite is because if someone crowds you with it, and they're gonna, you can go ahead and grab that. If they crowd you with it and they grab the stick, there's not a lot you can do. So for example, she comes at me and I crowd her, I get the stick. If I had a shorter range weapon, I'm easily winning that match. Even if I don't have a shorter range weapon and I get a hold of the stick, now, I'm coming at her with strikes, and if she wants to hold on to it, she can't block. So that creates some big problems with the sticks. The easiest thing I've found with the longer sticks is to be ready to disarm when they grab you, and then keep moving them away. Okay, so for this technique, this is one that's really easy, is if she's coming at me, and I come in and I grab the stick, she's going to take the end of the stick and bring it over my wrist like that. And you see how my wrist is, it's in the same position it would be to get wrist locked or to have a wrist escape, but there's the power of the whole stick now. So she's able to disarm, there. It's not really disarm, but to get my hand off of her weapon, and then she can strike me to keep me away. Okay, so that's going to be a really important technique. So here she comes again, makes a circle. You also see things in a lot of, can I borrow this real quick? You see some things in a lot of kung fu forms where they make circles, and a lot of times that's disarming. Not always, sometimes it's blocking an like another stick is coming at you and you're blocking it and then coming, but the disarm is also there. Let's see it from this side. So come in with that side. So at the very beginning of this video, I showed 3 different sticks that we were using. The 6-foot long staff was the first one. Then we have this one is 3 feet long. It's our Hanbo. And then the other one I showed the Escrima stick. I think most people, if they had to fight using a stick, I think the 3-foot long one would make a little more sense because we can fight in close with it much easier than the 6-foot staff, which you really can't fight in close with that at all. It's actually really, really hard to do, but with this one you still can. So if we were in close, I could still come and strike. I can come up, I've got chokes and all kinds of crazy things I can do from in close. But it's still long enough where I can keep a distance. And if she has a weapon, like say a knife or something like that, I can still, go ahead and come out with the knife. I can still come up here and I can still defang the snake, right? I can still take that weapon away. Come at me again with the weapon. Boom, so I can come at her with the weapon there. Oh, she almost got me there. And then there's a lot of other techniques you can do as well with the Hanbo. Now, the one thing about the Hanbo, because it's a traditional samurai type of weapon, there's a lot of really cool like ninja looking techniques with the Hanbo. Let's see some right now. Okay, this is a cool one, you guys. Oh, shout out to Sensei Mark Remke from ninjatraining.tv. Admittedly, I saw this on his YouTube channel. So here we go. So I'm here like this. I have a grip of her clothing. I may have a weapon of some kind in my hand. Well, why? We were just talking about this. So, well, why does it matter if I have the weapon? Well, there does a little bit matter because without the weapon, she could just start smashing me. She would have maybe smashed me before I even got there. But in the situation where I have the weapon, it's a little more intimidating, and I need to close this distance. So I'm definitely coming in to close the distance if I have a shorter range weapon. We talked about that earlier, that this all has to do with establishing distance and understanding distance and timing, and who controls the distance will control the self-defense situation. So here I am, I have to close the distance because I have the knife, and she has the stick, she has the Hanbo. So she's gonna strike my arm and turn my arm, this way, and then she comes to, okay. All right, we'll go that a little bit slower. A little slower. Okay, so we're here, she goes through my arm and she smashes my arm to the side. Good, so she hits my arm and it bends my arm, okay? Then after my arm's bent, she just takes that end of the stick out and she comes to my throat. From here, she could drive me right to the ground, which we'll show in a little bit, but she can also take her arm here, her forearm, and kind of scissors my head in there with the stick, and she can submit me, go ahead. So she can submit me there. Now, of course, if I do have a weapon here, it's going to be really important that she steps out at this 45-degree angle. She can't stay in front of me, right? So as I'm striking, she's stepping at that 45-degree angle, making it awkward for me to hit her. Okay, ready? Go ahead. So now for this Hanbo technique, my wife Janine, she's got the staff directly in front of her like this, and the attacker is either lunging or punching at her, and so when she does that, she's going to sidestep, creating an angle. So she's going to step at a 45-degree angle, and she's going to hit me with the stick. Oh, okay, hold on. Now when she's here, she has my wrist here, so she's controlled my arm, and she's going to bring my arm up. But she turns my pinky towards the ceiling. My elbow is now also facing the ceiling. Now all she has to do is use the stick here as a fulcrum and leverage as she applies pressure towards my elbow. It's no different than any other self-defense jiu-jitsu style technique, except she has the stick for additional leverage and power. Okay, payback time. So if I have her arm controlled and I hit her here like this, I'm just bringing the stick up, and then I apply pressure upward with the stick and downward for that leverage as I lift her arm up, creating a really, really painful elbow lock. a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy and I'm a grappler. And so I've spent the last 30 years training on the ground or really, really close in like a clinch for like throws and takedowns. I prefer a shorter stick because a shorter stick allows me to use the distance that I'm comfortable with. For me, an Escrima stick of this size is even a little bit too big. I would prefer even a shorter stick than this. And when I did fight with sticks and I started getting pretty good at jiu-jitsu, I definitely had fights where I gave my stick away. So she would start with a stick, I would start with a stick. Sorry, I don't have a stick right now. But we'll say she had a stick and I had a stick. Oftentimes I would throw my stick, take one shot and come in and get the takedown. And then when I was that close to them, it was very hard for them to utilize the weapon that they had. But let's talk about how you can utilize a weapon like this or even a shorter one from such a close range. And these techniques will also work with the Hanbo as well, but I think they work really well with a short stick. Okay, so now something I want to say that I haven't said before is that the weapon is just an extension of your body. So if we want to try some takedowns or some jiu-jitsu techniques with a stick, oh, it's going to be really good because it's just an extension of your body, but it's a really hard extension that's going to be really painful for your attacker. So if she has a stick behind her, we'll start here for now. I like starting with the stick behind me for any kind of takedown. And the reason for that is if she starts in front of me and she's trying to take me down, I can see this, and as she's trying to bring the stick around me, it'll be really easy for me to defend. But if she starts with the stick behind her, and now I'm coming at her with a grab or a punch or anything I want, she can bring the stick behind my body. Now my hands are up too high to block, so let's go back. Again, if her stick was in front of her and she tried to come around me, it's really obvious. But if she's behind, if I take the high level here going up, she can come underneath me and I can't block. Now, when she has the stick here, she can just do a body lock takedown where she just squeezes and takes me down. She's not gonna take me all the way down, but trust me, it would work. You could go lower also, so you could drop down and go for the legs for a double leg scoop too. But if we're here, she brings it around. Oh, and now she's got it behind my back. And all she's gonna do is squeeze. You're gonna bury your head right here, squeeze, bury your head, and then she can just take me all the way to the ground. A really painful way to do that is instead of using the stick as a whole, is you can use just the one point of the stick. So go ahead and try that on me. This one's gonna hurt a little bit more, so go ahead. So come here, now she has just the point of the stick. And anywhere she presses it, it's gonna hurt. It might be like pain compliance, it might make me tap, but it's also a really good way to take down. The only thing is if you have the stick on like this, let's say I had the stick like this on her and I was taking her down, when she falls, she could get impaled by the stick because it's sticking up instead of here, so you gotta be a little cautious with that. So the choke is just if I'm here, let's say she throws a punch or a grab with that hand, I'm here like this. Now I bring the stick up here like that, and I come around here and I catch the stick and I squeeze. Let's go to this side. I am not squeezing at all, don't worry, okay? I'm not putting any pressure at all on this one. So she strikes at me, boom, I'm blocking here, okay? I bring the stick through, and then I come here and I make an X choke, just like you would see in jiu-jitsu or judo, but I have the stick for the leverage and the fulcrum point. And it's gonna be really crazy painful, but I just wanna let you know that in my personal experience, I was not able to make that work, but I was able to make it work when the ground immobilized us, when the ground created a base. So if I was able to get a takedown and get someone on the ground, I was able to do that. But what was much more effective for me was not the choke, was actually using this technique here, using this kind of pain choke here on different parts of the body besides the neck to get the tap from pain compliance, and I'll show that coming right up. Okay, so now this is some serious pain compliance stuff. So what I mean by that is any position you're in on the ground, you can use the same choke we just did, but instead of choking the neck, you can choke anywhere on the person. So go ahead. So she's got my leg right now. So we were on the ground, maybe I took her to the ground or something, or she took me to the ground because I'm on my back. And so she's just gonna squeeze a little bit. Go ahead. Ah, man, is it painful. You just got that right on my shin bone. Oh, no thanks. Right, so let's do it again. Ready? So we're here. She brings it around. Now we just chose the leg. Just go ahead and squeeze a little. Ah. Now if I had a stick too, I could be bad. This just looks like jiu-jitsu to me. Now I got her leg. Let's pay back. Okay, this next technique is called the Fang Choke. This one is absolutely brutal. This is the #1 stick fighting technique on the ground, probably, in my opinion. It probably is the #1 technique on the ground. You can do it to me in just a second. I'll be really gentle. But if I have her in any kind of headlock here, I just take the stick and push it into her, and I just drive the stick into her. Super easy and super effective. And that's one thing about the stick on the ground is you're not going to be striking because there's not going to be enough distance to make the strike. So if you're on the ground in a clinch, in a grappling situation, pushing and pressing with the stick is a lot more effective, and this one's a really good one. So here we go. Okay, so now she's taking me down to the ground. She's gonna apply the Fang Choke. Okay, just with the remark I made about the kitchen earlier, I didn't mean it. Just so you know, all she got to do is squeeze a little bit, and she's gonna get that Fang Choke. It's really bad, but there's also the danger on the ground is when they have the weapon, I also have the weapon, because the weapon is right here for me. So go ahead for the Fang Choke. I might be able to escape and choke her before she gets it. All right, you guys, thanks for watching the video. Catch.